Welcome back, guys. Gonna do another product review video. Title of this one, as you might have seen already, is the train horn. And you may have already seen this product, although you have not seen it in the form that I'm going to show it to you. If you go back to the most popular video on this particular channel, it is the truck tour video of this truck, the Prime Inc. Lightweight International Pro Star truck tour video. That one has the most views here on this channel. Thank you for that, first of all. But I briefly mentioned the train horn, and I mentioned how I got it. So kind of a two-part video. It's a product review. I've had the train horn for just less than a year, and there's a very specific reason that I'm doing this video right now, and you'll see why in a moment. And then the second half is going to have to do with how I got the train horn and kind of a philosophy of use of truck stop reward programs. So let's start with the train horn. It is a Wolo, title of the video, W-O-L-O, Cannonball Express. It's one of the less expensive. It's not a real train horn, is the bottom line. My father, years ago, I'm talking probably 30 years ago, had an actual locomotive train horn. Those are very expensive. Being what it is, he doesn't have it anymore, hasn't had it in a long time. I don't know, I think he got it from somebody who just thought it was something neat and gave it to him. But a company by the Two companies actually make those. Nathan makes the Nathan Air Chime, and Leslie is the other company that makes true, honest-to-goodness locomotive train horns. And if you look up those on eBay, or if you do a web search, you're going to spend $800, $1,000, up to $1,500 if you want to get anywhere from a 2-horn to a 5-horn locomotive train horn. And that's going to be really, really loud if you put it on a car, truck, semi. Questionable legality of putting those on a vehicle and going around and hitting the air chamber to release and make that noise. So there's a number of companies that have made some of these consumer models. I'm not sure if train horn, this Wolo Cannonball Express, is any louder than the factory air horn. Semis obviously have air horns. They have them for a legitimate reason. It's a warning device. There are very legitimate reasons for trucks to have air horns. It was a different sound, bottom line. Truthfully, I had never heard the factory air horn on this truck until a couple of days ago, and there's a reason for that. I got this train horn, this pseudo train horn, pretty much the day I got this truck. I had this Wolo Cannonball Express installed. I got it from a pilot. I used pilot points. That's why I'm tying the pilot rewards or truck stop reward programs together. But my product review on specifically the Wolo Cannonball Express, which is available at, and there are many other model names from Wolo, but my basic review is going to be that I do not recommend. I got about 11 months of use. I did not pay anything because I used reward points for this product, but I expected still, they cost around $125 if you're going to spend cash instead of use reward points. I still expect it to last longer than 11 months. And bottom line, as I reach back to grab the one train horn, you can see that it has broken off its attachment point. Basically, this is one of 3 train horns. It was mounted horizontally. I went to the back of my truck on a pre-trip inspection, and it was kind of bent a little bit downward, maybe not even that much, and I just kind of grabbed onto it to see why it was, and the whole thing broke off. In that spot, in this hole, is where the air comes in Now, it was not a safety violation. I did not have an air leak because air doesn't rush to the air horn until you hit the air horn button. If on the International, the air horn is on the steering wheel. It does not have the traditional pull the air horn cord. Freightliner does. But I was very happy with it for the first 11 months of having it. It was just basically a different sound. Like I said, I don't think it really was any louder than the factory air horn. It just sounded more like a train horn. The factory air horn sounds more like a truck air horn, maybe a little more like a fog horn. It's fine. It's just as loud, but I just like the sound. I liked trains when I was younger, so it was kind of a neat, different sound. I don't know that I'm going to replace the aftermarket air horn, train horn, which is an item that I had installed at Prime's detail shop. Detail shop in Prime in Springfield is, and they have one at the terminal in Pittston, Pennsylvania as well. It's just a place that you can get aftermarket products installed on the truck or have work done. That's where I got my TV installed. They do things like that. They also will clean, they'll do the interior cleaning, detail clean the truck. So bottom line being, I do not recommend the Wolo Cannonball Express or the Wolo, I think there's one called the Wolo Dragon, but it's the one that's available at most of the truck stops. And again, most truck stops have similar products, and sometimes they go by different names. As I mentioned, I paid for that using points. I happened to get it at a Pilot, but these are all my reward cards. So we move on to the second half of the video. I'm not as upset about the train horn as I would have been, if I had paid cash. Basically the way, and here's Love's. I happened to use Love's My Reward yesterday, so I fueled there. This is Ultra One, which is Petro and TA. I'm going to skip to the back. This is Pilot My Rewards, Pilot and Flying J. And then there are a couple smaller truck stops, and I haven't used these in a long time. Wilco Hess and Sap Brothers. So those are the 5 that I have. Primarily, I use Pilot Flying J and the Loves, and occasionally use the TA Petro. Just a personal preference. You'll end up finding out which truck stop you prefer. But all of these truck stops with a rewards program give out typically 1 point per gallon of fuel. Sometimes they'll have a promotion. So currently, Pilot Flying J for a number of the mega carriers is giving out 5 points per gallon. Well, last time I fueled at a Pilot Flying J, I got 150 gallons. So that was 900 points. Each point is worth 1 penny. Doesn't sound like a lot until you realize you're going to fuel 2, 3, 4 times a week, and all of a sudden those things start adding up. I use points for the train horn. Like I said, that was about $125. I did have a mail-in rebate, so I think I ended up actually, getting cash back. I spent $125. I think I had a $20 mail-in rebate. So I used the points, $125 in points, got $20 cash mailed back to me in the form of a check. Christmas time last year, my wife wanted a Fitbit. Pilot sold the Garmin version of the Fitbit fitness wristband, whatever you call it. I bought 2 of those, one for her and one for my daughter. And I had a need for a new Bluetooth headset. And kind of nice to be able to not have to pay cash. If something comes up, something breaks on the road, if you save those. So bottom line is, that's the way I use my rewards cards, is I save those points. That's not the only way that you can use them, though. But I just wanted to bring that out as one philosophy of use. That's the way that I personally do it, is that I save those points because sometimes something might break. Like I said, my Bluetooth headset breaks. I was saving my points because I wanted to use it in that circumstance. Other people use their points in other ways, and those other ways are for food. They can go quicker that way, but if you think about it as if you're out on the road and you're in a real hurry, you don't want to stop and have a sit-down meal, you need to really quickly grab McDonald's. A lot of these have Subway, Hardee's. There's other restaurants in some of these. I know there's a pilot that has a Moe's Southwest Grill in Ohio, and most of the restaurants that are in the truck stops will accept those points. Now, you're not going to get as much. If you think about it, if you're going to spend $10 for lunch, $10 for dinner at a fast food place, that $100 is going to only last you 5 days. Instead of saving up that $100 and maybe purchasing, I keep my Bluetooth headset up here, in an emergency situation when that breaks. But it's a different philosophy of use. Maybe you want to do that once a week, twice a week, something like that, and then that can stretch it out a little bit further. But the number one thing if you're coming out on the road is, first of all, sign up for the rewards cards. And that's something you can do, especially if you live in a bigger city. Go to the truck stop, sign up for those right away. The one thing, and I find this really weird, the Ultra One, the TA Petro, they mail this to you. I mean, it's kind of nice. It's got your name on the front of the card, but they mail it to you. And as an over-the-road driver, if you're fresh out on the truck and you don't go home for 6 weeks, maybe it doesn't make it in the first 6 weeks home, and then you're out there for, I mean, they give you a little piece of paper with a barcode on it so you can use it and generate points, but to keep a piece of receipt paper as opposed to a nice plastic card, I'm not a fan. And then they have a weird redemption way. You have to go to a kiosk to redeem things. So not a huge fan of their system as opposed to, Pilot, Loves. You just scan it, barcode on the back, you just scan it when you want to purchase something. But if you have that opportunity to go out before you get on the road, I highly recommend doing that, because you're just throwing away money. You're just throwing away free things that maybe some week you're not going to make any money, and boy, I need to eat this week, and that's a good way to be able to eat. So 2 things: do not recommend the Wolo Cannonball Express truck train horn. Sign up for your rewards cards. You're not going to be able to use them in training. I'll make that note as well. When you're a PSD student, when you're in TNT, you are not paying for the fuel. Don't expect to get points, because when your drivers out, when your instructors out there putting 150 gallons in and spending almost $300 on fuel. Diesel's a little bit cheaper right now, so it's going to be less than $3, probably $240 on fuel. They don't want you getting their 150 points or 900 points if it's a 5-point promotion. But sign up for them so that you have them when you get your own truck. And think hard about those 2 philosophies of use and which one you're going to want to use. And I primarily save them, but it's also good to save them for a rainy day in case you do have a bad week and all of a sudden you do need to spend food for a week. So there you go. 2 things this week. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Talk to you next week.